y'all, this is Leslie. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I just felt like chit-chatting a bit, so that's what I'm gonna do. If you don't know me or you're unfamiliar with my channel, just a little bit about me. I am recently divorced. I got divorced on Valentine's Day this year, and I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. But I got divorced after a total of 9 years being married, 9 years, 3 kids. The divorce was finalized, on Valentine's Day. And if you saw my video yesterday, I was giving a word about basically it's the season, 'tis the season for people to meet their kingdom spouse. If that's for you, if you haven't seen it, you can watch it. Take the word back to God, and if it's for you. However, anyway, if you saw that word, when I was delivering the word, I did not think that word was specifically for me. And God confirmed for me afterwards that the word included me as well. The reason why this is a little, I don't want to say weird, but it's just kind of like, for me, it's because, like I said, I just got divorced. And so, I guess my mindset around, because I am open to, moving on with my life. I want to get married again, all that stuff. I don't hate men. I don't have that whole, all men are this, all men are that. That's insane to me. Just because what happened with one person, doesn't mean that's going to happen again. It doesn't mean that everybody's like this. Doesn't mean, you know what I mean? One marriage is not the next marriage, that whole thing, So I am very open to finding love again. I know that's what's going to happen. God has been showing me, even throughout the course of my divorce, that he has someone for me, and there's a lot that has happened throughout the course of the divorce. My husband left me he left me January 8th of 2022. Okay. And so during this whole year and some months, a lot has transpired, a lot of unnecessary stuff, a lot of crazy stuff. But more importantly, what has transpired is God. Like, God has shown up, shown out, showed me without a doubt that he has my back, that I am his daughter, that he is Lord. He has given me visions. He has given me dreams. He has given me words. Others have prophesied to me all types of things surrounding my marriage, my divorce, my future, and nothing has fallen to the ground yet. Like, God is such a good God. He is such an intentional God. He is such just an everlasting Father. He just loves us so much. And there was a lot of times that I have been disobedient to the things that he has wanted me to do, but there's also been a lot of times where I have been obedient, and I've listened to his voice and I followed his leading. Now, I'm not going to act like this thing has been without lots of emotion, lots of feelings, lots of sleepless nights, lots of confusion, just the whole grief, the whole gamut of things, because divorce is like a death, right? But as I've said before, new life is springing forth. And I did not imagine when my ex-husband left me that I would be in the place that I am now. I thought that because of what we see in the world, because of what we see on TV, because of what others have told us, that I would still be in such a place of sadness, grief, depression, all of the things. And I did feel those things throughout this. I felt all that stuff, intensely. But right now, post-divorce, I'm about 60 days post-divorce, I feel great. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just making that up. I have friends who can vouch for that. Like, I went through a whole lot. And for anybody else who's ever gone through divorce, separation, divorce, separating two lives, children, family, friends, funds, okay, just everything that comes with, you've built this life for 8-9 years, and now it's crumbled, and now you have to pull out and reconfigure, restart, reconstruct your life. But just the way that God has done this thing for me, I've never gone without throughout this whole process. God has given me increase in a lot of ways. God has shown up for me. Other people have shown up. I'm talking about send a raven. Like, God has just made it to where I haven't wanted for anything. Bills have been paid. Straight up, I'm getting child support. I'm getting alimony. I'm getting, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting assets or investments, things. Things have really worked out in my favor. And I'm gonna just be honest. I feel like at the end of all this thing, I gained so much more than what I lost. And I'm not just trying to spiritualize this thing, but I really gained so much more than what I lost. I lost a person, right? He's no longer my husband, but I've gained Leslie because I had such a bad identity crisis. Like, I just was not living up to my potential of who I am in Christ. Not seeing my worth and my value, not moving in the things that he's told me to, what my assignment is. Like, I was married to a pastor, and so and I'm a licensed minister myself, and I've been moving in such fear for such a long time, and just afraid to really move in what God has told me and who he has told me I am. Okay, it's like the Lion of Judah is residing on the inside of me. There's so much greatness inside of me, you as well. Okay, but a lot of times we suppress it, or we let things like depression or like different situations just eat away at us. And my self-confidence was literally in the gutter. I had a vision throughout this process where a woman was climbing out of a sewer, and when she got to the top to get out, when she was standing at the top, a very dark spirit entity came after her with the attempt to drag her back down into that sewer, but she took the big heavy cement like lid that goes over the top of a sewer, the grate or whatever, and she slammed it down, and that thing went back to the hell that it came from, because it was intended to drag her down. And God said that was me. He says that I've come out of so much filth, so much muck, so much okay, out of trash, out of like, just a sewer is a disgusting place. Like, such a place of bondage. I've come out of that, and I'm free now, and I had to literally slam the door, shut the door on the things that would want to try to drag me back. And I know that's the enemy, and I know that's his imps and all of that. So much demonic oppression has plagued me for so long, because there were doors that I opened that I wasn't shutting. And then different situations come into play in life where it's like it just comes in to grab you and pull you further down. But nonetheless, I feel so free. I feel so free of so much. And I feel like I'm able to move forward in who I'm supposed to be. Now, I will never glorify divorce, because I don't think that divorce is, it's not ideal. And so if you can avoid it, by all means. However, when it's unavoidable, don't avoid it. There was a lot that I did not know that was going on with the person that I was married to. He was living a double life. I don't know how else to, and so, just by the grace of God, I've been protected. There's so much that I did not find out until going through the divorce. And it's probably for the best, because by that time we were separated, living in different households, right? And so if I would have found out a lot of what this individual was doing during the time that we were still together, I might be in jail. One of us might be dead. You know what I mean? Like, I was very emotional, and some things I don't think would have been handled the way that they were handled, if I would have still been in that emotional state. And not to say that I didn't have a lot of emotional periods throughout the whole thing, because I definitely did, but God orchestrated, a lot of things in my favor. He removed people that really didn't serve a purpose, and I'm gonna get to that too. I guess I'm gonna just rant for a while. He removed people. God has a way. God will show you when a person's assignment, season, whatever you want to call it, when the relationship is just done. And oftentimes I'll speak for myself, I know it's we, but I will ignore it because of things such as, we've been friends for so long, or, familial ties or things of that nature. And sometimes it's just time to sever the cord. It's just time to cut the cord and be done. And it can be done amicably. It's just difficult, and it's weird, and it's hard and all that, but it's only as hard as we make it. And so throughout this process of divorce, I also lost the woman who I called my best friend. But truthfully, I don't think we have really been friends for a while. I think it was simply a title at this point. We met when we were 15, and so I'm 37 now. Yeah, so we'd been friends for over 20 years. And he and I were the godparents to her and her husband's children, and still love those girls, love those 3 little girls, but I don't have relationship with that family anymore. And right now, that's for the best. So throughout this process, I found that the woman who I thought was my friend and was caring about, what I was going through, and, wanting to give me advice or be a lending ear and all of that, I found that to be very disingenuous, because all along she was friends with my ex-husband's now fiance. He got engaged on April Fool's Day. So he got engaged on April Fool's Day. I'm gonna leave it at that, right? So we got divorced on Valentine's Day of this year. He got engaged on April Fool's Day of this year. So we hadn't even been divorced 60 days before he got engaged. And let me say something to that, because I don't care what anybody says. I believe that God is the word is poignant, and I'm probably not saying it right, but poignant, Poigant. Anyway, it's God is very calculated in the things that he does. I started off by telling you that I got divorced on Valentine's Day, and I know some people would say, like, whatever. Here's the thing about it. Valentine's Day in the world is a day of love, right? To the world. It's one of the biggest days of love. Ooh, a dragonfly. In the world, right? It's celebrated around the world. Okay, well, I don't know how to say it other than to say it, but I felt such an immense outpouring of God's love on me that day. You can say we shouldn't be celebrating that or whatever, to each his own. All I know is I will never forget the fact that I got my divorce decree on that day, and just the way the day played out. From the moment I woke up, I felt love. I did not know that was going to be the day. I knew it was coming soon. And the week before, I kept thinking, like, oh my gosh, what if my divorce is finalized on Valentine's Day? And I left it at that, right? And God didn't say anything to me about it. I just thought, like, oh, it's coming close, because we had been going through the legal proceedings of this for a while, and it could have been done a lot sooner, but because court dates and things of that nature, and also the fact that he never wanted to submit his financial records like he was asked to do multiple times, even by the judge. So finally, here it is, come January, early February, he finally submits this stuff, and we've been going through this process for months and months. But anyhow, once that was finally sent in, the process, got to February 14th, I woke up that morning and I just felt such immense love from God. I just felt like today's going to be a beautiful day. And after I told, a couple of people like, oh, my divorce was finalized yesterday, the next day or whatever. They're like, oh my God, of all the days, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, of all the days, and that's my last name, Day, D-A-Y, of all the days. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. I wish I could explain to you how much I felt like God was saying, I love you, Leslie. Leslie Day, I love you. And I love you so much. Here is your divorce on today. I felt I was celebrating. And again, I will never try to glorify divorce, but I see why people have divorce parties. I truly do. After you go through all of that, the separation, the anxiety, the how ugly it can get, how volatile it can get. It just playing with my children, like you know what I'm saying? I understand why people celebrate. It's a new life. You don't have to celebrate the death, but you can celebrate the new life. I truly get it now. And I'm not knocking anybody who has a divorce party. Do things tastefully. That's your business or whatever. But celebrate it as new life. This is my new chapter. This is my new beginning. If you're gonna do it, okay. And I didn't have one. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I totally get it now. Because after you go through all of that, you make it through all of that. Oh my God. Because I wasn't supposed to stand. I know that the enemy brought this divorce in such a way to try to destroy me, because I was already, before he even left, it had already been like a whole year of me being deeply depressed, just completely out of my mind. I thought I was going crazy. I kept asking this man, are you cheating on me? And he kept telling me, absolutely not, absolutely not. I just kept feeling like, God, I don't know why. I believe he's lying. I believe he's been lying for years. I believe a lot is going on, but I don't have proof. I don't know. God, tell me, because I don't go through cell phones. I don't go through emails. I don't go through bank accounts. Things like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I got to do all that, then we shouldn't be together. And I didn't think I had to go through all that, because I thought I had an integral partner. And so when I found out through the divorce that I was not really aware of who I was married to, it was very hurtful. It was soul crushing. Okay. So I'm already in a bad place. I'm already depressed. And then on top of this, I tell my then spouse that I needed to get therapy, because I didn't know if I wanted to be a mother. I didn't know if I wanted to be a wife. I didn't know if I wanted to be anything. That's how low I was feeling. And so I started therapy. This is October of 2021. I started therapy. He started therapy, and we were supposed to start marital therapy. Well, it's like once I started that and I started to feel better, that's when all hell broke loose. Now, in my opinion, we didn't really have big arguments. Of course, we had disagreements and things, but we never like went off on each other and stuff like that, really, okay? We had like maybe one or two throughout the course of the marriage. But our communication was terrible. That last year especially, it was just I couldn't shake a lot of feelings that I had, and I internalized a lot of stuff and didn't say it. So when I finally said it and I finally started getting therapy, it was like, trying to put a band-aid on a volcano. It kind of didn't do anything, and things just kind of erupted. Okay, so fast forward to December of 2021, and he's like, we get into an argument, and he's like, I'm leaving. That's it, I'm done. A lot of negative things were said to me, and a lot of things that I said to him, I feel like he wasn't listening through the lens of I'm in a depression. Not how do I explain it? I was trying to tell him where I was mentally, that I was not in a good place, that I didn't feel like I could be a wife to him in that current state. I didn't feel like I could be a mother to my children in that current state. And I believe that he took it all very personally, and that wasn't my intent. And I guess I wasn't articulating it. Nonetheless, the way that I needed to, nonetheless, I got into therapy, he got into it, and things just fell apart. Okay. So, then he left January 8th of 2022. I quickly began to learn and realize what was really going on behind the scenes. And so it was just very convenient for him to exit the marriage, right? So fast forward, we're divorced Valentine's Day, outpouring of love from God, outpouring of love from family, from friends. Just a beautiful, absolutely beautiful day. Towards the end of the day, literally like around 4 or 5 o'clock, my lawyer contacts me and she tells me that congratulations, happy Valentine's Day, your divorce is done. And when I tell you, I just felt so like, I felt elated, I felt happy, I danced, I literally danced, because I'm like, this is over, this is done. Of course there's still, like, even to this day, little loose ends and stuff, like, you know, we just had to finish the taxes. That's a whole nother, it's all, oh Lord, it's just always something. It's always something, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. It's always something. But just like little things that still need to be whatever. But it's over, it's finished, it's done. So fast forward to, and let me tell you this, the Lord had already told me last June, so June of 2022, that he was gonna quickly get married. He was preparing me. The Lord has been preparing me throughout this whole thing. That's how good our Father is. He was preparing me and letting me know through visions and dreams and prophetic words what was going to be happening, and everything he said happened, and it's still happening now. And so I'm just let things play out. We're done. His life is his own, my life is my own. I know the promises that God has for me. Whatever God got for him, great. I don't wish him no ill. Wish you well. Didn't always, but I wish you well, bruh. I wish you well now, because it does nothing for me. It does nothing for my children. It does nothing for my future. It does nothing for my relationship with God to hold on to all this hate and stuff. I don't want relationship with you at this point, because I can't believe the things that come out of, you know, his mouth. But I'm in a good place, and I really truly mean that. So fast forward to April Fool's Day, which was the beginning of this month, April 1st. And you know, I found out that he proposed to her, and I was like, okay, God, you said this is what was going to happen. I need you to guide me and tell me what, you know, what needs to happen from here, whatever. But I sat back and I was like, man, April Fool's Day. You know when you want to say a thing, but like, you got engaged on April Fool's Day. A fool got engaged on April Fool's Day. That's all I'm gonna say. I felt like a weight lifted off of me when I found out. And it was transferred. I don't know who it was transferred to. Maybe to her. But it was lifted up off of me. This thing is broken. And a week before, I had an encounter at my church. There was a prophetic conference, and I had an encounter with the Lord, and I could not stop screaming, it's broken, it's broken, it's broken, it's broken. Not even a week before. It was a few days before. It was literally within that same week. And when I tell you, I didn't know exactly what was broken, but I knew something was broken off of my life. The yoke and the bondage, something was broken off of my life. This thing, this situation, this divorce is broken. I'm not going to be defined by a divorce, like I shouldn't have allowed myself to be completely defined by a marriage. I am a whole person. I need health. I need to be healthy in all aspects. Yes, in my marriage. Yes, in my motherhood. But I'm a whole person by myself. And so this divorce doesn't define me. But what I went through can help somebody else. Just like whatever you've gone through. If you've gone through a divorce or whatever, right? If you've gone through issues within your marriage, but you overcame them, whatever it is, we all have a testimony. And often I negate my own testimony because I think it's not big enough, or I think it's like, well, somebody already has that testimony. I already said that or whatever. No, they don't need to hear me saying it too. But yes, they do. Everybody needs to hear your testimony. You know, as many people, God is going to guide you and lead you to whoever needs to hear it. But you have a story to tell. And your story, because truthfully, God has connected me with other women who have gone through what I've gone through. I mean, some women down to the T, like, he did this to you, or your children end up you know what I'm saying, like the everything, you know what I'm saying. Like, we negate our story or think it's not it's not worthy to be shared. But there's somebody out there who is desperate for this information, desperate for this knowledge, desperate to know that they're not alone. And so it's been the testimony of other women telling me, like, girl, this is what happened to me, and you will get through it. Now, when I was going through it, I didn't want to hear, no, you gonna get through it. What? Girl, but it's true. And I can sit here and say to you, you will get through it. You have to be prayerful, okay? When I tell you, there were some days when I didn't want to pray, and I was like, God, what? Pray about what, God? What? Broken. That's how I just broke. I felt like when a child breaks a toy, I just felt like, and now here I'm sitting. I've been divorced 2 months. And when I tell you, I feel the most mentally sound, spiritually sound, grateful, thankful. I just feel like and I'm not trying to be dramatic. When I tell y'all, I just feel like an abundance of love. I just feel like God has renewed like a covenant, a contract, whatever with me. I just feel like I'm a new person again. I feel like I'm a new creature in Christ. Like, and it's not just the fact that I'm divorced, but it's because I picked up my Bible. Okay, I had put that thing down for a long time. I just allowed myself to fester on my own thoughts. I didn't have the mind of Christ. I was just in it's like I was in a tornado. I was just in such a place of chaos. And I feel like I can see clearly now. Like, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I can see clearly. I can hear God's voice. I'm where I know I need to be. And I'm going on the trajectory that the Father has me on, my Father. And that's another thing in itself. I'm going to have to come back and talk about that, because I had such daddy issues for so many years. And when I say the Father, for a long time, I couldn't even really reverence God as, I knew he was my Father, but because I had issues with my own father, it was hard for me to see God as a father. That's a whole nother thing. But when I tell you, my daddy, Father, you are my father, you are my dad. I so much has become clear now. So much is just like, phew. I don't know. I hope this is helping somebody. I don't know. I just felt like, I guess, having a rant or something. But Lord, ma'am, if you are going through a divorce right now, there will be joy on the other side. But you have to be so prayerful. You have to be so dutiful. You have to listen to God in everything. And he's going to send help. He's going to send people who are going to just impart wisdom into you, and trust it and believe it, and don't go your own way. Do not lean to your own understanding, because baby, that stuff is bad. You don't understand what you're going through. You don't understand why you're going through. You don't understand your feelings, your emotions. And then coupled with the fact that we have a cycle, and you're just on an emotional roller coaster. You don't know up from down some days. The kids maybe driving you crazy when you're trying to focus. It's a lot to deal with. Life in general is a lot to deal with, and then add a catastrophe like divorce. But when I tell you, this has been the best thing, I feel, God help me today, Jesus. I don't want to. I feel an immense amount of joy in being divorced, to be single again, and not because, and I'm not dating. It's not even about that. But right now is a time for me and God. Whatever God says, if he tells me, Leslie, I want you to get married tomorrow, okay, well then that's what I'm supposed to do. But I'm in such a place of just I feel free, okay? I feel free to be obedient again. I feel free to be Leslie again. I feel free. I don't feel clouded. I don't feel confused and crazy anymore. And I don't want to say it's just because I didn't just listen. The divorce wasn't just that man. It was a lot of erroneous mindsets. It was a lot of ill feelings toward myself, low self-esteem, fear, doubt, worry. Just I feel like I was in an entanglement with sin myself, because I was so bound and so afflicted. My goodness, just the spirit of depression and oppression. When I tell you, I was in a marriage with that stuff more than I was with that man. So whatever he doing, whatever he did, whoever he with, that's all on him. I don't even care anymore. Jesus, thank you. I don't even care anymore. I don't have time to be mad about that. Bruh, live your best life, because I'm about to live mine. Listen, this may seem so silly, but something like this. I've had such a scarcity mindset for so long, and like, I can't do this for myself. A cup. And I know somebody's like, girl, why wouldn't I wouldn't even buy myself something like this. And just because, well, I got to make sure I take care of the kids and do all this and that. I put me on the back burner for so long. I was not a priority. I was not my own priority. And now I'm sitting over here like, girl, if you don't go to Bath and Body Works and get you them candles and get you them $20 candles if you want to, girl, if you don't go and buy yourself a tumbler in this color just because you like it, do something for you. Who am I not to take care of myself? This is the only temple I got. This is the one life to live, baby. Why not live it? And so I'm going to live it. My ex-husband, when I confronted him about his adulterous affair, and I'm not trying to be funny, but you know, like, laughter is good. He told me, I gotta live my life. Baby, live your life, because I'm about to live mine, okay? I am about to live mine. For too long, I have been a zombie. For too long, and now I'm about to live. I'm already traveling. I already took a trip, about to take another trip, about to do my thing. I'm not about to sit up in this house anymore, pandemic or whatever. No more excuses. Leslie's gonna live because Leslie deserves to live, and I'm gonna do it with a smile. I feel happy. I feel joyful. I have a glow about myself now. I was walking around with when that child, God, when that man left me, I was walking around like this. My sister kept telling me, lift your head up, pick up your head. Like, I walking like this, like I was so suicidal. And now I'm just like, girl, you was about to kill yourself over that? You were about to end it all because that man left you? Not Jesus. Girl, is you crazy? Like, you really got to be out of your mind. It's just crazy stuff. Like, and you know, once upon a time, I'll never be that. I'll never be it. And I was that. And now I'm sitting here like, I can't be that again. And it's not that I can't be that again. None of that glorified God. Being suicidal and being depressed because someone left me, being having low self-esteem, walking around being fearful, not walking in my purpose, none of that is of God. None of that is of God. If you're in that place, it's not of God. And that's not to condemn you, but you got to get out of it. You got to get deeply rooted in Christ. Okay? I feel so much better because I wake up with an expectancy to meet the Lord, to talk to God. Like, okay, what we doing today, God? Okay, God, how you ordering my steps today? What's going on? And this is not, and I'm not trying to act like, oh, I've been walking like, no, baby, this is like recent. This is like God's doing a quick thing here. Do you understand what I'm saying? God's doing a quick thing. Like, he told me at the beginning of this year, speed. One of the words is for me is speed. I'm going to see a lot of things happen rapidly, but I got to be in alignment. Things can't, like, it's like a domino effect. You know, like when you hit one domino, when they're perfectly aligned, they can go very quickly. You even see, like, sometimes when people have those, I've seen on TV, like, people have domino races or whatever you want to call it. Like, they set them up and they try to see, like, how quickly can all of these thousands of dominoes fall because I've aligned them perfectly. God says, I'm putting all these dominoes in place for you because I want this thing to happen for you quickly. And I'm speaking this prophetically now. And this may be for you as well, I'm going to get married a lot quicker than I think. And it's not because I'm out here looking, because I ain't looking for nobody. Do you understand me? I'm not looking for a soul. Right now, I love sitting up in my bed alone. Hey, I love my time alone. I love the fact that I don't have to answer to anybody but Jesus Christ himself. I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm enjoying this time. Do you understand? I have peace. I didn't have no peace. Okay? I thought I was going to have to get a peace because I didn't have no peace. I have peace now. I enjoy sitting alone with the Lord. I enjoy worshiping alone with the Lord. I enjoy when my kids come home from school and we can sit and we can laugh. I'm not saying that this individual was a horrible, horrible person. He was a very good husband for a long time. But the relationship died. And I need the Lord to be my husband right now. But nonetheless, I truly feel like the Lord is sending someone. And so there's a preparation that I am going through. I feel like he's preparing me. And I believe that it's not going to be a long time before I get married again. And that could even mean like, oh, it's going to happen in 2 years or it's going to happen in 2 months. I don't know. I'm not putting a time limit on anything. I'm just saying that I feel like God is moving this thing a lot quicker than what I would personally be comfortable with. But I'm trusting you, God, because honestly, for me, I feel like, oh, I could just be by myself for a while, because I've been married for like 8-9 years. So I'm cool. But I don't think that there's an assignment that God has on my life, and I'm connected to someone. There's things that have to be done, and I said it in my message yesterday. There's things that have to be done through a union, right? There's only so much that you can do by yourself, right? That's why God sent that's why Jesus sent the disciples out 2 by 2. Even if we go all the way back to Genesis, who was it? Exodus. Is it Exodus? Moses, yeah. Wait a second. Yeah, Moses, right? When he became basically like the leader, right? Then didn't he have, child, what am I talking about? Something about Moses in 2, right? Scratch that. Just take that out. Let's just, because I'm not sure about what I'm saying right there. But I feel like he had, all I know is, I think it was Moses. And he had, what's it called? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, I don't want to say generals, but he had people under him, right? He had teams, right? And like this person would be over this and this. I feel like I'm confused, and I don't want to confuse nobody else. All I know is disciples were sent out 2 by 2. Okay, let's go back there, because I don't know what I was trying to say with the other thing. All I know is disciples were sent out 2 by 2, and God where 2 or more are gathered, right? Things of that nature. You can only do so much by yourself. God is sending somebody to have your back and to help you work. There's work in the earth that needs to be done. And although it looks like it's a marriage, and it is a marriage, there's a marrying of more than just you and your bodies, okay, and your hobbies and the things that you like to do. There's a marrying of assignments. There's a birthing of assignments once you get married. And so there's some things that I know that God is going to do through me and my next spouse. And I no longer have any shame behind that I will be married again, that this will be the second time around. Singing somebody, the second time around. And I can't sing, but that's okay. Because it's going to be better. I've learned a lot, right? I'm still learning a lot. And there are some things that I did in my first marriage, and some attitudes I had, and some failures to communicate, and some failures to collaborate. There's a lot of things that I need to improve on. And I'm thankful that God has given me a second chance. And I'm thankful that God has given him a second chance. I'm thankful. It's going to be all right. Everything's going to work out the way that God wants it to. I've learned a lot of lessons through this, and I'm going to continue to learn. And just because you get married again doesn't mean that everything's going to be roses, every relationship comes with its challenges. But I'm praying that whoever God is sending he's sending the right person. That's all I'm saying. I'm putting this in God's hands. I just unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, believe that God knows exactly what he's doing and who's he's sending. And another thing that he did, I hope all this is making sense, child. I just feel like I'm just going off. I don't know. I hope that it's kind of like making sense. After I gave that word yesterday, go back and watch it if you haven't. God began to talk to me about my soon coming spouse, kingdom spouse. And he didn't give me a whole lot. He only gives me like bits and pieces, right? Because he's been talking to me. That's another thing too. He's been talking to me about this individual even when I was going through the divorce, like early on, which totally freaked me out because I was like, God, I've been praying that we were going to get back together, but you talking about somebody else. Am I hearing you, or is this the devil? It was God. So God was telling me a little bit about this individual, and he didn't go into great detail yesterday. He just told me that I needed to prepare myself. And he told me that he would be taller than me. God knows that's he had already told me that, but he was just reiterating it. Because I was looking at this guy who I know is probably I think he might be my height, okay? Yeah, he was my height or whatever. And I was just looking, I was just like, oh, he's handsome, he's got some things going on or whatever. And God was like, he's the one I'm sending you is taller than you. Not your height, not shorter than you, he's taller than you. And he knows that's my preference. Okay, I don't know how tall, but he was just like, he's taller than you. It was a joke. It wasn't a joke, but God was just like, sit down somewhere, quit tripping, he's taller than you. That ain't him. And I asked the Lord, don't send nobody, don't even let anybody approach me, don't let anybody come this way unless it's the one, because I don't want to be bothered. Just to be quite honest, I don't want to be bothered with anything that's not him. I don't have time. I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm not saying that that's old, because I don't think that's old, but I just don't want to play games, and I just don't want to. I'm almost 40 years old. I have 3 children. I am a mother. I don't have time to be messing around. I don't even really want to be doing the whole dating scene and stuff. I don't want to be doing all that. I just don't. That's just not my preference. If you want to do that, great. Kudos to you. But I don't want to do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's just not my preference. I would prefer that I be by myself, left alone to grow and to learn whatever it is God had me in, to be able to walk in my assignment without any extras. I don't want any distractions. Don't send no yeast over here. I don't want a little leaven coming up, rising up. I don't want no sin. I don't want any temptations. I understand, things happen or whatever, but I want to be free of as much foolishness as possible, to be quite honest. Okay, the flesh like to rise up. I don't want to be nowhere confused or it ain't even confused. I don't want to be anywhere having sex. Okay, I don't want to have the sex. No, I don't want to be. I don't want to be tempted in that way. I want to leave all those things alone. I want to continue to be celibate until the next person comes, even if that's 5 years from now. Even if that's, you see what I'm saying? I want to honor God. I want to honor God with this whole thing, because I'm watching my ex and he ain't honoring God. He thinks he's honoring God, and I'm watching that. And I'm not even trying to talk bad about the man, but I'm watching the example that I know he was supposed to be and the example that he is now, because God will make an example out of you one way or the other. And I'm watching, and I'm paying attention to how he's moving, and I don't want to move like that. And I don't want to move like that with my children. And do you get what I'm saying? I want to be a stable parent. I want to be integral, an integral parent, an integral woman, an integral woman of God. I want to have morals, values, character. I want to be guided by wisdom, not foolishness. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so, and again, I'm not trying to talk about that man. I'm just saying what I'm observing, and I don't want to be that version. Do you get what I'm saying? So anyway, God was talking about this man. He told me that the man is tall, and he told me that he's looking for kind eyes. And I said, that's interesting. He said, yeah, he's looking for kind eyes because he too has children, and he needs to, and he it is very important to him that he finds somebody who will be kind and loving to his children. And he says that I would love the individual's children, and that he would love mine, and that the commingling of the families would be not, I don't want to say effortless, but it would be done well. That we would all love one another, and there would be such a spirit of sharing and giving within the family, like what's yours is mine and mine. So don't even worry about like because sometimes, you know, a concern can be like, well, I'm getting married again for the second time, and I don't want to be mixing funds, and I don't want to be. God said you won't have to worry about any of that. It will be such a spirit of truth and integrity in this thing, and just love, and a spirit of giving and sharing, that it won't be any of a, are you doing this with your kids, or my kids, or, you know, that kind of crazy stuff. God says that he's all in the midst of this thing. So I say all that to say that if the word from yesterday was for you as well, go back to God and ask him, what is it that you are supposed to be, how are you supposed to be preparing? What is it that your spouse is looking for? And I mean, in the sense that he said kind eyes, because that made me think, I know he told me that because he was like, I want you to be smiling, because sometimes I be looking crazy. I be looking like, first of all, I can't see. And so I wear glasses, and sometimes I'm looking like this and I can't see. And sometimes I don't mean to, but sometimes what I'm thinking is on my face, and I walk around like this. And I don't mean to, and I don't mean any harm by it. Or I smile like this. And I think to some people that can be like, and I really don't mean anything by it. So I have to remind myself sometimes, smile like that. I'm just in my head a lot. So yeah, I don't necessarily mean anything by it. But anyway, he was like, kind eyes. And he was like, because that'll make you smile. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was just a note for me. And so what I'm saying by that is, ask God, like, how are you supposed to be looking? What is it that you're supposed to give off? What is it that your kingdom spouse is looking for? Maybe it was a requirement, or not so much a requirement, a request of my kingdom spouse, that like, God, I want her to have kind eyes. And so God relayed that to me. So anyway, all I'm trying to say is spend some time with God and ask him, like, what am I supposed to be looking for? What is he supposed to be looking for? How? Just ask him. He's God, and he wants to tell us. I'm not saying he's going to tell you every little thing, because if you anything like me, you're nosy and you want to know everything, and it's like, no. And God even told me, I said, okay, God, well, tell me something else. And he said, okay, Oliphant. And I said, what? Oliphant? What is that? Is that the last name? And he was like, look up what the word means. And I was like, okay. So I looked it up, and Oliphant, the word means strong. And he's like, he's a strong man. And I was like, well, that is important to me, God. Like, okay, like, I do want to be strong. Do you mean like strong? Or do you mean like, but he was like, he's strong. He's strong in his manhood. He's strong. He'll be, you know, not that he can't live, but he was just saying like, he's a strong man of God. And that is important to me. I won't go into it, but that is important to me for many reasons. So it's just funny the way that God will talk to us if we'll just stop and listen, and just, he wants to have such a relationship. He's our first husband, right, ladies? Like, he just wants to have such a relationship. And he just was reminding me, don't leave me. When this man come, don't leave me. Don't try to, don't put me on the back burner. He was saying things that were important for me to remember. It's not so much about what this man looks like, because I already believe that I'm going to be attracted to him. God has shared some things with me previously about his looks or whatever, but I believe that I will be physically attracted to him, romantically attracted to him, all that type of stuff. But God is letting me know, like, the important things is that he's going to be strong, right? That he's looking for a kind woman, that you are not to leave me, that I have to be the focal point of this thing, right? And I know that was the focus of God. God being the center of my previous marriage. We lost that because we started off with that good and strong and went way wrong. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I have an appointment to get to. I hope that this is helpful. I know this is probably just me. I don't know. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I don't know. Sometimes I need to talk. Yeah. I think we all just need to talk. So yeah, I hope this has been good. Have a great day. Talk to you later.